If you're receiving Social Security or SSI right now, I'm going to ask you to put everything else aside for just a few minutes and stay right here with me because there's a rule coming into effect for July 2026 that changes three big things. Who is allowed to look inside your bank accounts, how often they can do it, and what happens to your monthly check if they discover something you never reported. This isn't a proposal. It isn't some idea being kicked around in a committee. It's a documented change that is already moving through the Social Security system as we speak, and most of the seniors who reach out to me have either never heard a word about it or they caught one alarming headline without ever understanding what it actually means for their own deposit. I'm not talking about something that might happen way down the road. I'm talking about a real change to how your benefits get verified beginning this summer and the exact things you need to understand before it ever reaches your account. For more than 10 years, I've spent my time studying retirement benefits, senior tax programs, and the financial rules that quietly reshape seniors' lives every single year. And the pattern I keep running into is the same one over and over. Honest, hardworking people getting caught completely off guard by a change that nobody ever bothered to sit them down and explain in plain English. That's exactly what I'm here to do for you today. But before we dig in, let me ask you something directly. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If you haven't, go ahead and tap that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell while you're at it. Here's why that genuinely matters for you. Social Security rules, Medicare rules, and the verification systems running behind your benefits are constantly shifting, and when they shift, nobody mails you a letter explaining what it means for your situation or what you're supposed to do about it. This channel breaks down every one of those changes in plain language the moment they happen. If you're not subscribed, the next update that lands squarely on your monthly check could slip right past you without you ever knowing it existed. So subscribe now, and let's walk through this rule together. Here's what we're going to cover today. First, what this new bank access rule actually is in plain English, stripped of the bureaucratic wording that makes it sound far scarier and more confusing than it needs to be. Second, who it applies to right now, including one specific group of seniors who are convinced they're not affected, but absolutely are. Third, precisely what the system hunts for inside your accounts, including the accounts you forgot you ever opened. And finally, the scam that's already wrapping itself around this rule and zeroing in on seniors who just heard about it, plus the exact steps to protect yourself and stay on the right side of the rule. Stick with me through all of it, because the piece most people get wrong comes near the end, and it's the very piece that actually protects your check. Let me begin with what this rule is and why it even exists. At the center of all this is a system called AFI, which stands for Access to Financial Institutions. In plain terms, AFI is the electronic tool the Social Security Administration uses to log into financial institutions and confirm what you really have sitting in your accounts. It's been around for years. What's changing in 2026 is how often they're required to use it and how few obstacles remain in their way when they do. For a long stretch of time, there was a threshold in place. The agency would only run a complete bank verification once your reported resources climbed above a certain dollar figure. If you stated that you had very little, they often didn't dig any deeper. That threshold worked like a speed bump. It quietly limited how often the agency reached into your accounts. Under this rule change, that speed bump is being taken away for a much larger group of people. The agency is now directed to run financial institution verification on essentially all new SSI claim approvals, no matter how little you say you have, and to repeat it more frequently across the entire life of your claim. I want to be exact about why this is happening, because the reasoning actually matters. The agency's core job is to pay the right amount to the right person at the right time. SSI, in particular, is a needs-based program. It's designed for people living with very limited income and resources, and it comes with a firm resource ceiling. For an individual, that ceiling has long stood at $2,000 in countable resources. Cross it, and your eligibility takes a hit. The agency's view is that improper payments, money handed to people who were over the limit, are one of the program's biggest problems. So their logic is straightforward. If They check your accounts more often and more completely. They catch resource issues early before a large overpayment quietly piles up, and they later come looking to claw it back from you. That's the legitimate side of the story, and I want you to hear it plainly because understanding their reasoning is exactly what helps you stay on the right side of the rule. An overpayment is not free money. If the agency pays you funds you weren't entitled to because you were over the resource limit, they will eventually find it, and they will come asking for it back. More frequent verification is, in large part, the agency trying to shut that problem down before it grows into a bill with your name printed on it. Now, here's the part that catches people off guard, and I really need you to sit with this one. Plenty of seniors hear the words SSI bank access rule and immediately think that doesn't apply to me. I'm on regular Social Security retirement, not SSI, or I'm on Social Security disability insurance, which is a different thing entirely. And yes, you're correct that this particular rule, as written today, applies to the SSI program. But here's what I want you to understand about the direction all of this is moving. SSI is almost always where these verification changes are born. It's the needs-based program, so checking your resources is already baked into how it works. The tools, the systems, the automated bank access, they all get built and expanded inside SSI first. And the larger conversation happening in Washington, on both sides of the aisle, keeps circling back to the idea of means testing other benefits somewhere down the line. Means testing simply means adjusting what you receive based on how much money and how many assets you already hold. And here's the crucial point. You cannot means test anything without first being able to look inside someone's accounts. The very verification machinery being built and expanded for SSI right now is the same machinery that would be needed to examine resources for any other benefit in the future. So even if this exact rule doesn't touch your retirement check today, the system behind it is the thing worth understanding because it shows you where all of this is heading. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you so that you're never caught by surprise later. Let me show you what the verification actually does once it runs, because this is where it gets concrete. When the agency runs AFI on you, it doesn't simply check the one account you told them about. The system can run up to 10 geographic searches tied to your information. It searches based on your address, and it can also pull in addresses and identifying details connected to your representative payee if you have one. It detects the accounts you reported, and just as importantly, it detects the accounts you didn't report. And this is the part I really want you to take in, because it's not about hiding anything. It's about forgetting. A lot of seniors have an old account tucked away somewhere they haven't given a second thought to in years, a savings account at a bank that was later swallowed up by another bank, a small credit union account opened decades ago for a car loan still sitting there with a few $100s in it, a certificate of deposit a relative once set up. You may honestly not remember these things exist. The system doesn't care that you forgot. It finds them and it counts them. So if you're on SSI and you've been operating under the comfortable belief that your countable resources are safely under the limit, an old forgotten account popping up in a scan could change that math in a way you never saw coming. Here's the full picture of what the system is designed to find. It looks for what are called liquid resources held in financial institutions. That covers checking accounts, savings accounts, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, credit union share accounts, and special purpose deposit accounts like Christmas Club or Holiday Club accounts, essentially anywhere you can deposit money or hold a certificate at a bank or credit union. This verification is built to reach. It operates across all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the territories. The overwhelming majority of financial institutions, somewhere around 96%, take part in the automated system, which means the agency can verify electronically without you ever being involved in that step. For the small handful that don't participate, the agency falls back on a paper process. But the reach is very nearly nationwide. And the bank scan isn't the only system in play. There's an entire toolkit working alongside it to assemble a full picture of your financial life. There are payroll information exchanges that can tell the agency what you're earning through an employer's payroll system, sometimes fast enough to adjust your very next check. There are systems that pull from national new hire databases. There are wage verification tools built specifically for SSI. Each one exists to confirm a different slice of your income and resource picture. The point isn't to memorize the acronyms. The point is to recognize that verification in 2026 is automated, layered, and dramatically more thorough than the system many seniors remember from years gone by. Before I show you exactly how to protect yourself, I want to speak to you directly for a moment because the fact that you're still here right now tells me something. Most people see a title like this, click, feel a quick jolt of worry, watch for 2 minutes, and then move on without ever learning what to actually do about it. You stayed. That tells me you're serious about protecting what you rely on and that you understand the difference between getting blindsided by a rule and staying a step ahead of it comes down to knowing how it really works. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now. Tap that button and turn on the bell because the verification systems running behind your benefits are exactly the kind of thing most seniors only discover after a problem has already dropped into their lap. You're here early. Stay subscribed so you stay that way. Now let me walk you through what this looks like in practice using the same kind of example the agency itself relies on internally, so you can see exactly how a verification unfolds. Picture someone applying for SSI who reports a small checking account holding about $20 plus a $100 certificate of deposit. Their total reported resources come to roughly $120, comfortably under any limit. Under the new approach, the agency still runs the bank verification even though the reported amount is tiny because the check is now required, regardless of how little you claim. The scan comes back, confirms the checking account, finds no hidden accounts anywhere, and the person's resources are validated right around where they said they'd be. Because everything lines up and stays under the small tolerance the agency uses, the process moves forward cleanly. No problem at all. Now change just one detail. Suppose that same scan comes back and shows the checking account actually holds far more than the person reported, or it uncovers an extra account they never mentioned. Suddenly the agency has to dig deeper. It has to verify the value of that certificate of deposit, take a harder look at the other balances, and the small tolerance that would have let them skip those extra steps no longer applies, because the verified total now sits higher than what was reported. And here's the through line that runs across the entire life of a claim. If your verified resources stay low and steady, you may face fewer repeat scans. But if a scan ever shows you near or over the limit, expect to be verified again and again at multiple points because the agency is specifically directed to keep checking whenever the numbers hint at a resource problem. So what does all of this actually mean for you, and what should you do about it? This is the part most people skip, and it's the part that protects your check. Let me lay it out as a clear set of actions. First, if you're on SSI, track down every account with your name on it, not just the one your check flows into. Set aside time this week and build a complete list. Your main checking, any savings account, any old account at a bank that may have changed names or been bought out, any credit union account, even one you opened decades ago and forgot about, any certificate of deposit, any club or special purpose account. If you're not sure whether an old account is still open, call the institution and ask. The goal here is simple. You want to know everything the scan would find before the scan finds it, so there are no surprises that quietly push you near the resource limit. Second, understand your countable resources against the limit. For an individual on SSI, the long-standing countable resource limit is $2,000. Add up the liquid resources across all those accounts. If you're comfortably under, you have far less to worry about from a verification. If you're anywhere close, this is the moment to figure out exactly where you stand, because being close is precisely when a forgotten account can tip you over without any warning. Third, if your situation has changed, report it correctly instead of waiting to be caught. The agency is blunt about this. The systems are designed to surface unreported resources, and the safest place to stand is always accurate, timely reporting on your end. If money has come your way, even a modest amount, understand how it affects your eligibility and what your reporting obligations are before the next verification cycle, not after. Fourth, and this is the protective heart of the whole thing, when the agency contacts you about verification or sends you a redetermination, Respond promptly and honestly, and keep documentation of everything. The single worst move you can make with a benefits verification is to ignore it or to guess. If you're unsure how a particular account or asset affects you, that's exactly the kind of question to bring to a qualified professional who handles these matters, because the answer depends entirely on the specifics of your situation, and I can't give individual advice through a screen. Now, I want to share something important, because every time a new rule like this draws attention, a scam latches onto it within days, and this one is already in motion. Here's exactly how it works. A senior hears about a new Social Security bank access or verification rule from a video, an article, or a neighbor. Before long, they get a call or an email from someone claiming to be a Social Security verification specialist, a benefits compliance officer, or a federal account review service. The caller explains that because of the new 2026 rule, the senior's accounts need to be verified or pre-cleared, and that they can handle the whole process, protect the senior's benefits, or shield their accounts from the scan for a fee. Sometimes it's a few $100s. Sometimes it's a percentage of the benefit going forward. Here's the single sentence that exposes this every single time. There is no fee, no service, and no third party that can shield your accounts from official verification or carry out this process on your behalf. The verification is something the Social Security Administration conducts directly. There is no authorized middleman who can opt you out of it, pre-clear you, or protect you from it for money. Anyone offering that is selling you a fiction. And very often what they're truly after is your Social Security number, your bank account number, or a verification code, which is the real goal of the call. Write this rule down, because it's your shield. The real Social Security Administration will not call you out of the blue and ask you to confirm your Social Security number or your bank account details over the phone to comply with a new rule. They already have your number. When they genuinely need to verify something, the legitimate process runs through your application, your redetermination paperwork, and official notices, not through a surprise phone call demanding that you act immediately. If someone calls claiming they can handle the new bank access rule for you, and the call, then if you have questions about your own situation, go straight to the source yourself. Call the agency using the number you look up on your own at the official SSA.gov website, never a number a caller handed you, and report the scam contact to the SSA fraud hotline and to the FTC at ftc.gov. Those reports genuinely help investigators track these operations and warn other seniors before they lose a dime. Let me pull everything together right now in the simplest way I can, because all of this boils down to a short list of things you can actually do this week. Number one, if you're on SSI, build a complete list of every financial account with your name on it, including the old and forgotten ones, so you know exactly what a verification would turn up before it ever runs. Call the institutions directly if you're unsure whether an account is still open. Number two, total up your liquid resources across all of those accounts and figure out where you stand against the resource limit. If you're close, treat that as your signal to get clarity now, because a forgotten account is precisely what tips a case over the line. Number three, report changes accurately and respond promptly to any verification or redetermination notice. Accurate, timely reporting on your end is your single best protection against an overpayment you later get asked to repay. And when a question is specific to your finances, take it to a qualified professional who can look at your actual situation. Number four, protect yourself from the scam. No one can shield your accounts from official verification for a fee. The agency will not cold call you demanding your Social Security number or bank details to comply with a new rule. If that call comes, hang up and verify directly through ssa.gov or the official number you look up yourself. I want to close by saying something to you directly because I think it matters. This rule is one piece of a much larger shift toward verification of what seniors have that is more automated, more frequent, and more complete than ever before. The systems are getting sharper at looking, and that trend isn't reversing anytime soon. None of it arrives with a friendly letter walking you through what it means for your check. The agency doesn't call to coach you through staying compliant. The system simply runs, And the people who stay protected are not the ones with the simplest finances. They're the ones who understood how the verification works, knew what it would find, and got their own picture in order before it ran. You watched this entire video, which means you already understand this rule better than most seniors ever will. Now take the next step this week, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you haven't already, because the verification systems behind your benefits keep evolving, and this channel covers every change in plain language before it lands on your doorstep. The next update could be the very one that affects your specific situation, and you'll want to be here when it posts. And before you click away, share this with one person in your life who's on SSI or Social Security, a parent, a sibling, a neighbor, someone from your church or your community. One share from you might be the thing that helps them get their accounts in order before a verification catches them off guard. The system isn't going to call them and explain any of this in plain English. You might just be the only one who does. I'll see you in the next one.